Namaskar. Good morning, dear devotees, friends. Today, the Sunday, our discourse will be on the Yoga VASISTHA. Yoga VASISTHA is like a walking on the razor's edge. That's a jnana. But before that, always there will be some questions, there will be some despondency, there will be some doubts. Then only the knowledge that comes out. Pariprasnena shevaya, as it is said in the Bhagavad Gita, that you have to serve the teacher with your spiritual questions. Then only the best knowledge it will come out. So let us begin. Dikkaladi anabachinna ananta chinmatra murtaye swanubhuti ekamanaya namashantaya tejase. I salute the Supreme Brahman who is beyond all qualities, tranquil, beyond the limitations of the 10 directions, Dik, Kala, Adi, Anabachinna, space, time or objects, who alone is the embodiment of the infinite and consciousness, and who is to be known only through the proof of one's own experience. Swa anubhuti ekamanaya. Swa anubhuti. Somebody comes and says, even the Guru comes and says that you are Brahman, it is not going to help. The person should realize that I am Brahman. The direct knowledge, and that is exactly what it says over here. We started this studying, and from the last Sunday, that was the 6th, and today we'll be reading about the doubts of Sri Ramachandra. After finishing the study, Rama and his brothers came back, and naturally, as the young people, even today they do, after the exam is over, the school is over, they like to go out for some touring. Rama and his brothers also requested his father, King Dasharatha, and the mothers that we like to go out. So they arranged and they went out mainly to the holy places. And this kingdom was Koshala, and their capital was Ayodhya. It is said, it is in the Ramayana, it described, the Koshala, the King Dasharatha was actually ruling Dravida, that is Andhra, Sindhu, Punjab, Saubhira, Saurashtra, Gujarat and beyond, Dakshinapatha, southern Indian states, Banga, Bengal, Anga, Orissa, and Magadha, Bihar, Kashi, that means Uttar Pradesh, present Uttar Pradesh. This is a huge part, almost the whole India, we can say, and the capital was the Ayodhya. In one of the books we find the Ayodhya was surrounded by Parikha. Parikha means a channel full of water, and there will be alligators or the crocodiles. The people cannot easily cross that. And not only that, again there was after crossing that, if you reach, then there is a huge wall, brick wall, and strong stone and brick wall, and that is guarded by so many soldiers. And they were having also one type of bow, and that was automatic almost. The moment someone is coming, it will go on shooting the arrows. So Ayodhya, one cannot conquer through war. That is called Ayodhya. So from there they went out, they traveled, and they came back, and they were happy. Dasharatha, just to give an idea, because this Ramachandra, they are the prince of that. So this Ramachandra's father himself was a Maharshi and also Rajarshi. He was not only a very courageous and heroic person and very good administrator, at the same time he was like the rishis according to their experiences and knowledge. It's called Maharishi. Rishi means a man of knowledge, spiritual knowledge and many other knowledges, and he was Maharishi of that. Also Rajarshi, like the Janaka, Rajarshi, Raja and Rishi. The qualities of a king and the qualities of a monk or the Rishi, it was both in the Dasharatha. Dasharatha was having the 8 ministers, and the chief of that was Sumantra, his great friend. Dasharatha was having 3 wives and very famous queens, that is Kaushalya, Kaikeyi and Sumitra. Kaushalya's son was Rama, Kaikeyi's son was Bharata, and Sumitra's son was Lakshmana and Shatrughna. They were almost the same time they were born, but Rama was the senior most. And very interestingly, Rama, Sumitra's 2 sons, twin son, so one of the twin, that is the Lakshmana, he was like a shadow to Ramachandra. The other one, Shatrughna, he liked Bharata. So 4 brothers, there's 2 teams we can say, Bharata and Shatrughna, Rama, Lakshmana. This is the background. Now the king Dasharatha came to know that the Rama's behavior has completely changed after his pilgrimage. In the meantime, Rishi Vishwamitra arrived and requested the king to send his son Sri Rama to punish Kharadushana, the 2 demonic persons who were disturbing spiritual practices. Aham niyamatisthe siddhai sattyaparakramam mama bigna karanam cha rakshasanam vinigrahe daksha ramam mahatmanam putram me datum arhasi. O king, I practice religious discipline. For this fulfillment, you should give me your son, putra me datum arhasi. You should give the son, the noble-minded Rama. The Rama was, he was only 15, 16. By that, all country they knew, all people they knew, that Rama is a noble-minded person. So noble Rama, we want the Rama, famous for his valor. Daksham Ramam Mahatmanam. To destroy the demons, Rakshasanam Vinigrahi, who are causing obstructions to my spiritual practices, Mama Bigna Karanam. So that was the 6th verse. It says this way. And this Vasishtha, he was also very famous. So he came. Raja Dasharatha was happy, and he was little. He used to love Ramachandra so much. So naturally, when he came to know the Rama is not behaving as he used to, so what happened? When he came back from the school, from the Gurukula, he was all right. What happened after? So he was thinking, has he fallen in love with some lady? Has something happened? Maybe the mothers have said something. So naturally the father was very much worried for his beloved son. And in the meantime, when this Rishi came, so king out of great emotion told, oh, you have come, I am so grateful, I am so happy, and you must have come to meet me with some desire, with some wish. Think that it is fulfilled. That was, when he said that, that was the defect that he did. He promised, not knowing what he's going to ask. And this was the prayer. And he said, Putra me datumar. And who is that Putra? Rama. So obviously Dasharatha never expected such a request. In the meantime, Rama's attendant informed, after his pilgrimage, after he came back from the pilgrimage, Rama has become silent and alone, holding everything unreal. I don't know, it is not written in the book, but we can gaze the father's heart. Immediately Dasharatha perhaps thought, oh, this is a very good excuse to say sorry to Vishwamitra. So his mind, he is behaving in this way. Rather, you take some of the soldiers and all our commanders are there, and if necessary, I myself can go. He was talking like that. But Vishwamitra knew the minds. He knew the purpose of his visiting and asking Rama to accompany him. Everything he knew. So he says, Evam chitvam mahapragyam anaya atra begata. Oh, is it so? So bring him here in the court quickly. Anaya atra begata. Begata, quickly. Anaya, bring. Atra, here in this court. Evam chittam mahapragyam. They forgot who is Rama. But the Rishi knew who is Rama. He was the Lord Vishnu. Vishnu in the human form. So obviously the Rishis, they realized, and that's why he is telling Mahapragyam. And again, Mahatmanam. He is a broad-minded as a Mahapragya. And his intellect that surpasses all other intellects. Mahapragya. He knows, so please bring him. Then he said, this delusion of Rama is neither due to calamities nor due to passion. Don't think there's something wrong, bad has happened to him and he is withdrawing himself. Not like that. And no passion, that there is a desire or something, nothing like that. This is the Rishi, as because they could read the mind, so they say like that. Isha moho raghupati na apada bhayo na api ragataha viveka vairagya bata bodha eva mahodaya. It says in the 21st verse, it is because of wisdom is manifesting, so because of the discrimination. The Rishi immediately understood why Rama is withdrawing. Sometimes some people, when they fail to achieve something, they usually withdraw from the society. They like to be all alone. And naturally we think, oh, that is the sign of something bad that has happened to him. All people, they were thinking in that line, but the Rishi, Vishwamitra, he told, no. Isha moha Raghupati, this delusion is not Raghupati. Raghupati means Sri Ramachandra. Na apada bhayo, na api ragataha, not because of any fear or any passion, nothing like that. Why? Viveka vairagya bato bodha. As because the Viveka and Vairagya is arising in his mind. He is now 16 years and he is now discriminating, he is now understanding things. So naturally Viveka and Vairagya, sometimes the parents, they wonder why their children suddenly changed. Because of the past karma phala. When you see a little kid and the parents are so happy, Swamiji, he is so devoted, always goes and sings Kandana, and also whenever I am doing puja, he is sitting by my side, I will wait till 16. And then after that, if he or she is continuing the same, then it is okay. Because after the 16, they say 18 in the modern time, their originality, or what is the originality? The past impressions that start manifesting. Then the parents can't understand their children. He was like this, she was like this, why it is changing? Many parents, they'll be asking and they wonder. So this is the very clear, the Rama's mind was also changing because he was the God himself. So naturally these bondages in this world, it is not for him. So he was expressing that. Friends, afterwards, those who know the Ramayana, we know how obedient Rama was, and he not only followed the Vishwamitra, fought for him, and he obeyed his parents, the father, and also married, and everything in his life. But the beginning of his life, this is important. He knew everything. Then entered into the samsara. Why? We'll come to know about that, because for him, this world and the spiritual world are the same. And this is called Advaita Jnana, the knowledge of the oneness. There is no two. Those who have read the biography or the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, you must be remembering that word of Sri Ramakrishna, very famous word. So he said, Advaita Gyan Achule Bedhe, tying the knowledge of the Vedanta, of the Advaita Vedanta, and then only you go wherever you like. This is that. When Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna mentioned, this is the displayed in the life of Sri Ramachandra. Isha moha raghupatena apada bhayona api ragatah viveka vairagya bhato bodha eva mahodaya. This is because of the viveka and vairagya, the dispassion that is rising. Hearing the call of the king, his father, Sri Rama came, and as per the tradition, showed his respect to his father and two sages by bowing down and touching the feet, and then sat on the ground, bhumau asane. This is a great teaching. The tradition grew in such a way. You should not sit on the same level of your guru, and you should sit below, because to show your humbleness. We are humble, but at the same time, they are very free to express their opinion. So we will listen to that Sri Ramachandra, how he is talking with them. He showed the respect, the tradition. Come and touch the feet. That is the Hindus, they do, touching the feet of the seniors. And then he sat on the floor, not on the couch or the chairs. Tada ragya monibhyam cha samprishto moha karanam ubacha bachanam ramo yatha badati bistaram. Tada ragya. Ragya is the order of the king. The king, it is not only the father, he is the king. He asked him to come and explain what has happened to him. Tada ragya munibhyam cha. And both the munis, their Kula Guru, the Vasishtha, and now the visiting sage, the Vishwamitra, and Vasishtha, two sages, munibhyam cha samprishta moha karanam. What has happened to you, Rama? His father asked. And both the munis, they were nodding their heads. That means it is their question also. So what has happened to you? Ubacha bachanam ramo. Now the Rama said, and he opened up his mind, yatha badati bistaram, in details. Friends, I don't know whether we will be able to read all the verses and the way the Rama expressed. We will pick up some and we will understand what is the problem. He is asking the question, and what now he is giving, O holy teachers. First he is telling, what is happiness? Can happiness be had in every changing object of this world? These are the two questions, and very important question in the spiritual life. You are asking me to take part as a prince, to be king. But tell me why? The goal is happiness. Not to become a king, but become happy. That is the very, very important thing that one should notice. The goal of human life is not to become a doctor or engineer or professional or the president or the minister, but to be happy. That is the goal. We always think that if we become like that, we'll be happy. It is not. So the happiness that should be the goal. Ma Saradamani Devi, and she told, and that is considered as one of the greatest teachings that she has given, if you want peace, then don't find fault with others. Rather, try to find fault with yourself so that you can rectify. And she never said the God realization ought to become this or that. She said peace. The happiness and peace, how it is possible. Oh holy teachers, what is happiness? Can happiness be had in ever-changing objects of this world? Whatever I am touching, it is changing. I am thinking that if I get this world, I'll be very happy. The world is completely changing. I was thinking that if I have this office, have this position, but everything is changing, including me. I'm also going to die someday. So that is the basic question of religion. The religion, it begins with a question. And to answer that questions, philosophy comes. And they explain the whole thing. That's exactly what the sages will do. Then where the philosophy ends, there begins the spirituality. The spirituality starts after that. So the question should arise. Otherwise, one is not fit to travel in the path of religion. But majority of the people, they don't bother about it. They go to the temple and the churches, mosques and synagogues. They go for extra protection. If the God is there, the God will protect us. That is the idea. Nothing wrong. God, of course, can protect the people. But here, it is completely different. The young man of 16 years old, he is asking this question, what is happiness? Can happiness be had in the ever-changing objects of this world? Ever-changing, all the time changing. Can I have the happiness? If we look at the lives of the very popular actresses, a period comes, a time comes, they are so famous. People are mad to have a glance of these people. Then a day comes, they become old. Young generation comes and they become outdated. Even they are moving in the market, people are not talking to them. Why? Outdated. So Nata and Nati, in the Sanskrit they say, the actor and actresses, they lose everything when they lose their beauty. So is that happiness? No, they'll be so unhappy if they are not religious minded. So they go for drinks and narcotics and they ruin their life in search of happiness. We are studying the scripture. If the scripture cannot help us in our own life, if we don't understand this, what is the use of reading the scripture? If we were not going for God realization or Brahma Jnana, self-realization, but at least in this life, one should be happy by reading this, understanding this, happiness cannot come from the temporary things. Then the people are born to die and they die to be born again. That is the observation. Ramachandra was much earlier than Lord Buddha. And I don't think Lord Buddha was influenced by the Ramachandra. But the same experience happened to him. He was also a prince. And when he went out to see his city, the country, he also saw these changes. He saw the person can't walk properly, and then the old man, and then the dead body. He got the complete change in his mind. Why? Thinking. And we regularly see it, but we never think. And we think that we are going to survive all through. In the Mahabharata, when this question was asked to Yudhishthira, what is this special thing in this life? Ascharya, what is that Ascharya? Then the Yudhishthira said, Ahani ahani bhutani gacchanti yamamandiram. Every moment people are dying, but sthiram icchanti. Kimascharya mataparam. The more than these, what will be the wonder? The wonder is these. Every moment people are dying, but those who are living, they think, no, I am going to live all through. I am not going to die. And this is the wonder. This is people should think. Here the Rama is also telling, Jayate mriyate loko. Mriyate jananaya cha. The 25th verse, it says, every time people are born to die and they die to be born again. That means this chakra, the birth and death, this chakra is going on. Then Sri Rama expressed his thoughtful opinion about this world. Then he said, Asthira sarva evaite sacharachara chestita kim me rajyena kim bhogoi ko ayam kim idam agatam. This is a very important verse. He said, the movable and immovable, everything in this world are impermanent. Asthira, impermanent. Sarva evaite, everything. Chara, achara, chestita. Chara and achara. Chara, movable. Achara, immovable. Sentient, insentient. So these both are like this. Everything is impermanent. Kim me rajyena, of what use or kingdom and enjoyments to me? Kim bhogoi ko ayam. Now he is asking, who am I? Ko ayam. This is a Vedanta, they always ask, who am I? Ko ayam. I cannot be this body, because body is constantly changing. I cannot be the mind, because mind is constantly changing. I cannot belong to this world, because the whole world all around me, including my parents, including my relatives, my friends, my neighbors, my nation, everything changing. Every moment it is changing. So who am I? Ko ayam. Then he said, Kim idam agatam. Why this? What is the purpose of this coming? Who has come? And with what purpose? Ko ayam. Kim idam agatam. There, from here it begins. The Rama is asking the questions. The questions of Sri Rama. Some people, they say, despondency of Sri Rama. As the Arjuna, he was in the Bhagavad Gita in the beginning, the first chapter, he was also confused. But Arjuna's confusion was different. He was thinking that I am going to kill my own people. Then what is the purpose of killing my own people, kith and king, relatives, friends and brothers? So that was a completely different aspect. I should say, if there were not his relatives, Arjuna would not have asked this question. And they would not have showed these weaknesses. No, not necessary. What I am going to earn from this, the world is temporary. He is not thinking in that way. Rama is thinking a completely different. So Sri Ramakrishna says Daya and Maya, they're two different things. Both are emotion. Daya, the compassion, and the Maya, there is also compassion. But Maya with attachment and Daya without attachment. This is the difference. A monk also feels for others. If anyone in distress, at least I can say Ramakrishna mission monks, they are always in the forefront. In any distress, so they will be serving them, but without any attachment. We don't know them. They don't belong to my religion or my caste or my family, nothing. No question. Wherever they are, in South Africa also, our Swamis, they are collecting funds and then feeding the hundreds and thousands of poor people. I have seen them. I visited and I saw how they are serving, giving them education, giving them health care, giving them food, giving them whatever they need and according to the monetary condition. So naturally, but see how they love it. The compassion is there, but without any attachment. We don't know those people in South Africa. But our Swamis who are there from India, they are thinking for them, constantly begging, constantly requesting people, can you please give some food, can you please give some clothing, can you please give some money? Why? This is called the way the Sri Ramakrishna said, the one is Arjuna, he was going to be bound because of that same compassion, that is Maya. But Sri Ramachandra, without compassion, so that is Daya. So here, this is the difference. O sage, how does this sorrow come to an end? This is a very good question. Almost all people, we are suffering. Either this way, the people who are having a lot of money, they are also suffering. Those who are not having even a penny, they are also suffering. So all are suffering in different way. So Sri Ramachandra is asking the sages, Shamati idam katham dukkham. Katham, how? Idam dukkham, this sorrow, Shamati, how to control? O Honorable Sir, life is transient as the drop of water dangling at the sharp corner of a blade of grass. As beautifully is expressing, what is the life? A drop of water dangling on the sharp blade of a grass. Any time it will fall and get destroyed. So life is as transient as the drop of water dangling at the sharp corner of a blade of grass. If we understand these, then we'll be free from all miseries. Not that you have to leave the hearth and home, not that you have to leave whatever you are having, but if we know that life is transient, we will be wise to take decision in many things in our life. Alas, what is the purpose of life? Sri Ramachandra, he is expressing. They asked, why you are suffering? What is your problem? And he is going on telling, it's not that I wanted something. Sri Ramachandra wanted the knowledge. Why? Because he observed, and very truly he observed, the transient, the temporariness of this world, everything of this world. Alas, what is the purpose of life? Then he said, Taraba opihi jivanti. The trees also live. Jivanti mrigapakshinaha. So do the animals and birds. Mriga means the animals, and pakshi, birds. Sajivati manoyasya manane naiva jivati. Many of our monks, many of our sadhus, they quote this. He alone lives whose mind is alive by reflection. If we are not thinking properly, understanding the life properly, then we are only surviving, we are not living. I use these two English words. One is survival. The trees are surviving. So long they are living. So many things they have seen. So many things happened under that tree, but no reaction. And the mountains, for hundreds of years they are there. So many kings crossed that mountain with the thousands of soldiers and never came back. Even if they are coming back, maybe the haggard condition, all the mountains have observed. But what is that? It didn't change. So, sajivati manoyasya mananenaiva jivati. 31 and 32 verse mixed. Taraba apihi jivanti. The trees also live. But how? Just they are surviving. Jivanti mrigapakshinaha. And so the animals and birds, they are born and they are eating grasses, and then one day they die. I observe this here. I observe that some of the animals, they are born, small kids coming out, and so fearful, and then slowly they are growing up, and then one day they are dead. So like that the life goes. And when you observe this, we should try to imagine what is going to happen to me. I was born, I have grown up, now I am going to die. That's the last, that's the end. So if we go on manana, if we go on remembering these things and pondering on that and researching on that, coming out with the result, that is called jivana. Sajivati mano yasya manane naiva jivati. Swami Vivekananda placed this in a little different way. He said, they only live who live for others. They only live who live for others. Sometimes the world, some organizations, they make the list who is the most rich person, the highest, richest person in this world. And there will be competition. There will be so many billions of dollars they are having. The one is first, another is second, like this, like that. But do they really feel what they are going to do with that money? They don't. It's a type of an intoxication. I am having so much money, I am having so much money. So many people waiting over there just for my command. Ego, ego, ego. How much food he can eat? How much comfort? The best bed, best everything. Even then, how much? So that one should try to understand. Rather, if they could understand this, and the extra money that they are having, they could give back to the society, the poorer section of the society, then the society would grown up. Not only he would be a god to them, they will remember him all through, but at the same time his business will run well. Because the money will go back to the society, and what the people are going to do with the money? Again they will come to the market, again they will purchase that money will come back to him again. So there's the economy that goes in this way. But these people are thinking that no, we should keep all this. So this preserving, sajivati mano yasya manane naiva jivati. And Vivekananda very categorically said, they only live who live for others. Rest are more dead than alive. The scripture is a burden for one without discrimination. Sri Ramachandra is telling to his gurus. If you don't have the discrimination, if you are studying the scripture, it is a burden. And if you go to the traditional schools, you will see the truth. They have studied the whole scripture, but they don't have the discrimination. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he said a story. The Pandit, the Sanskrit scholar, he used to visit the king and then read out from the Bhagavata. And after reading out few passages, that is the many they do like that, he used to ask the king, "O king, have you understood?" The king used to say, "Pandit, you should understand first." But this man, he was to feel insulted. Why the king is telling like that? I am reading the Bhagavata and king is not understanding. What is this? Then second, third, it goes on, and he can't say anything to the king. King is so powerful. And moreover, he goes to read that only for money. And the king is paying him for that. So he goes on doing that. One day, it flashed in his mind, the Bhagavata is not. The whole thing goes to one, only the teaching, give up, give up, give up, tyaga, tyaga, tyaga. The Bhagavata is teaching us the tyaga, to give up. Now I go and read that Bhagavata before the king for money. And then I am asking the king whether he has understood it or not. Scripture is a burden for one without discrimination. The moment the discrimination came, that old man, though poor, he understood, no, why should I go to king? He didn't go. Second day, third day, king inquired what happened, why he is not coming. Then he sent the people to inquire, and this Brahmin replied, I am not going to read Bhagavata for money. King was so happy. King understood, now he has understood the meaning of Bhagavata, and naturally he gave him a lot of gift. Knowledge is a burden for the person full of desire. I know that this is temporary. I know that this is sinful. But even then I go and secretly do something very wrong. Is it not a burden for that person? If he was not knowing that, it was not a problem for him. As because he knows that, but his passions and desires are so much, he cannot control, and when he is doing, his suffering is much more. Mentally he will, oh, why I have done that, why could I can't control this? So that is why Sri Ramachandra is telling, knowledge is a burden for the person full of desires. Mind is a burden for one without peace. And we all know that. So when there is no peace, when there is no happiness, when there is no control, and the mind is a burden. The body is a burden for one who does not know the self. When only the body is there, is thinking of the body, it behaves like the animals, only having some joy for the body, and the body gets joy with some food and excitement. That's all. So it is because they don't know about the self. The body is moving, body is going, and he is thinking, I am powerful. Is this the body powerful? No. Because of that reflection of the Brahman is there in our buddhi. So we can walk, we can talk, and we say we are leaving. Ahamkara vashat apat, ahamkara duradhayah, ahamkara vashat iha, na ahamkarat paroripuhu. So it says, ahamkara vashat apat. Ego generates calamity. Apad means calamity. So all the problem comes because of the ego. I know, I can do, why should I not do? Why I have to report, why I have to... This is ahankara. Just little simple system people are not ready to follow. Why? Ahamkara. If there is a system, suppose you go to somewhere else, it's an unknown place, what do? You follow the system. The moment you know someone, and if he is asking to follow you something, immediately, why should I do? I am an old associate, so I should not do. So ahamkara vashat apat, calamity comes. Then unnecessarily you are creating problem for yourself, and also the relation with those people will be bad. So naturally, if you even go over there, they will turn their faces, they won't talk to you, you won't get the peace as you used to get. Only a little thing, that system that has developed, follow these. Any organization is having some rules and regulation. When you go to that organization, it is obvious that I am going to accept the rule. When you join this, our monastic order, the Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission, we come knowing that we are going to follow the rules and regulation of this organization. Nobody is compelling you to come. And when you are coming, you must know that these are the things that I am going to follow, and why you should react against. But many, they will react after coming, after joining. Oh, why this, why that? That is the rule, and we have accepted. So this is the way we should understand. Ego generates calamity. Ahamkara vashat apat. Ahamkarat duradhayah. Ego gives anguish. Ahamkara vashat iha. Desires arise from the ego. I want. Desire. All is because of the ego. Na ahamkarat paroripuhu. There is no enemy worse than ego. So those who wants to get advancement in this spiritual life, we should understand this. This ahamkara means it comes in the mind. Chitta nigraha, control of the mind. So here we find the Rama, he is telling it is so difficult. This chitta nigraha is very, very difficult. And he said, how difficult it is? Most of us, we are asking each other, sometimes the juniors, they ask the senior, how to control the mind. That is an eternal question. Everyone is asking, including Sri Ramachandra. He is asking, and he is telling to his gurus, 37 and 38 verse, the restraint of the mind is more difficult than drinking the ocean, or uprooting the great Sumeru mountain, or eating fire. The same thing we find in the Bhagavad Gita. The Arjuna is also telling the same thing to Sri Krishna. Vayoriva suduskaram. It is so difficult to control the mind, as we cannot control by hands the air. Can I hold the air? Can I control the air? No. It is just like that. The mind is so strong and so difficult. Of all the ills of worldly life, it is desire alone that gives lasting grief. The desire alone gives lasting grief. The grief that comes from desire. If I don't have the desire, there is no problem. There is a beautiful story, Abadhuta, the very famous Abadhuta. About the Abadhuta we have already discussed. He used to learn from nature. And one day he observed that a kite is taking a piece of meat, and he was chased. It was chased by nearly 10 or 15 crows. They wanted the share of that piece of meat. And this kite, it won't share, it won't give, it is his food. So it was trying to save the food, and it was going down, going up, here, there, but the crows won't leave. Ultimately, the kite understood, it is not for me, they are coming for the food. Okay, let me drop it. And when he dropped that, all the crows jumped to that, and they left the kite alone. He went and sat on a branch of a tree and heaved, and oh God, now I am safe. So this is the desire. If you have the desire, you are going to suffer. Every day before our eyes, the people are suffering because of the desire. The cause of every suffering, any suffering, desire. Maybe sometimes hidden desire. So this is the thing that we should remember. And Rama is telling this. These are all his observations. These are all his feelings. And this he is expressing to his gurus and to the sages before his father also. They don't think that I have withdrawn myself because something happened in my life, unfulfilled desire, nothing like that. I want to understand the cause of the suffering. So he began with, what is happiness? The cause of suffering is desire, isn't it? He is asking the Guru. And he is telling this way, of all the ills of worldly life, it is desire alone that gives lasting grief. Desire alone makes the best of men worthless. Best of men worthless because of the desire. Then he is telling this, the stage of life are painful. He is telling the body manifests the world, and it is only for experiencing sorrow. This body that manifests over here, that means taking the birth, only for experiencing the sorrow. Friends, if you go to any scripture, Indian scripture, they will always give you, the first thing is this: are you sure that you are not happy with the body and mind? After this, before we go to the answer of the Rishi, that VASISTHA, we will read in this, the first book, who is capable to understand. So when we are reading this, we are trying to understand this, going to pursue this, are you capable? So what are the things that is necessary? So then only they will say, okay, you are now capable to understand this. We will come to that. There is nothing more deplorable than the body. And we are all attached to the body. And we are all loving this body so much. And we don't understand anything else but this body. But this body is giving us only pain and nothing else. And whatever the way we are maintaining this body, the death is sure. And after the death, either you will be buried or you will be burned according to your religious tradition. But that is to be sure. The death is obvious, that is sure. So that he is telling, of what avail is wealth then, What use is kingdom? Of what avail are body and things shot for? So these are the spiritual questions he is asking. Friends, we will continue this. It's a long, but we will make it short. And slowly, slowly, it is the time he is mentioning about the body, about the wealth, about the enjoyment, about the suffering. Whatever the way he thought, a young man of 16, he is expressing before the wise, two wise people, and also to his father. He was a Rajarshi. Then he is telling the kala, the time. In some cases where the sense of happiness in worldly life exists for a few, time completely destroy even that. So how this is called discrimination, bichara, bichara, bichara. Without this, spiritual life cannot grow. Without this, the spiritual life, one cannot make it successful. Unless and until, there are only two things, again and again I say. One is the spirituality, another this worldliness. The world and spirituality. Then we say, the religious people, they say, the spirituality is nothing but the God who is the creator, and his creation is this world. And now this world is temporary. Why? Because he has used some imagination and he has given that to us, like a magician. As the magician, when he gives the castle on the air, we all appreciate, oh my God, it's true. Such a huge castle and it is floating. Can that be true? But the magician proves that is there. We also see, we also accept that. But even then it is not true. Similarly, this world is the work of the unique magician that is God. And the Vedanta, they say, through Maya, through the power of illusion, he has created. And it has a time, and it is going to destroy all that. Today, one of my monastic, they are telling that whether I take medicine or not, this body is going to die, and it has a time. No one can stop that. Everyone is there, and he has a time. Exactly on that particular day and time, he or she will die. If we take the medicine, okay. If we don't take the medicine, maybe it will be a little painful, but we won't die. We will die on that particular day, what is fixed for us. So like that, if we observe, and then we will find that what is this? And for these temporary thing, and what the time is controlling, and I am spending so much of time for this, so much of money for this. I was seeing in some advertisement or maybe something, suddenly it popped up. One couple, fabulously rich, they have hired some hour in the Burj Khalifa in the Middle East. I think it is in the UAE. The Burj Khalifa, they write something they'll be writing with the light. So the thousands of people will be able to see that. They have given money, paid money, you can imagine how much, only to announce that my next child is going to be a son. For that, millions of dollars they spend. And that will be a flash. I don't know how many people will read. Even if they read, they will wonder whose son? Anyway, somebody's son. So, but these two young couples, they're so happy. Then they have announced that my next, the baby is going to be a son. Is it? They will let them be happy. They were feeling they are happy. The friends are there, and you can understand. They don't bother about spending money. But suppose instead of writing over there, they could go to a place where people need that, and that $1 million, if they had given them food, medicine, clothing, and said, will you please pray for my son who will be take birth on such and such date? Thousands of people would have prayed for that son. So please think about it. So we will continue how wonderfully this young man of 16 years, Sri Ramachandra, he is taking each and everything, this body, this mind, this kingdom, this wealth, this world, and the time, each and everything is nothing but temporary, Father. Then why you are asking me to become a king? So that is the question. We will continue with that in our next discourse. Thank you.
So the first question is from Devjani Dhar. Devjani is asking, what is the significance of Gotra for us, for future generations, in the path of spiritual broadness of mind and attitude?
Devjani, though it is not related with the subject that you are studying, but still, the Gotra comes from the school. Someone maybe in the generation, in the family that you are born, someone long back, he was a student of maybe Modgalla. So your Gotra is a Modgalla Gotra. So the training and the culture and the system that has come down from the training of that school of Modgalla. Bharadwaja Gotra. The Bharadwaja, the Rishi, the famous Rishi we know, and he has formulated, hey, you should do this, you should do that. From there, we have forgotten what they instructed. But it is continuing, and naturally, that is India, it will continue, that is called Gotra. But always you should feel proud and try to live that life that you belong to a Rishi. And your whole family, your clan is belong to a Rishi, the seer, the holy people. And you should not do anything wrong that will make them ashamed. So that is called Gotra. Thank you.
The next question is from Hima Bindu. Hima is asking, life is short through realized impermanence of this world. Life's important part is over. Now with little time left, what to do?
Hima, right?
Yes.
Himaji, even a day, that is sufficient. Just say to God, God, I am yours. And you will be realizing God. So that faith should be there. Even for a long period of time, the people, they are practicing as because there is no dedication. Two things are necessary. One is faith that God is there. Second, the earnestness to be with God. That is sufficient. It is not the time, but your intensity of prayer. May God bless you.
The next question is from Tuhin. He is asking, without desire, can this cycle of life or bhava chakra move?
No. Without desire, it cannot move. So when you don't have the desire at all, then your mind becomes tranquil. The desire comes from the association, and there will be no association. So what will remain? Consciousness only. See, the consciousness is there all the time, always, in every being. But above the consciousness, it is going on like the waves of Sattva, Raja and Tama, the three qualities. And from the Sattva, Raja, Tama, the ego is also coming. Raja means fully ego. And Tamo is also ego but negative. Sattva is also ego but positive. But ego is there. And naturally it will rise the desire, desire and desire. So if the desire is not there, then mind become completely tranquil. That is the rishis, that is the meditation, that is samadhi, no desire at all. And then at that time the reflection of the consciousness can be realized. So Pratyak Atma Darshana, that is called. Thank you.
The next question from Charles, he is asking, what is a good way to remember that we are going to die? I find it hard to remember.
That is, don't remember that, Charles. But the thing is, only think that it is all temporary. The someday, if you look around, and particularly now the COVID-19 is going on every day, all the TV channels and the newspapers going on giving the list of death. So naturally we can understand anything may happen to me any day. So it is all temporary. Not much time is left. So why not put my mind to the holy thoughts? And what is holy thought? Thinking the good for others, Holy thought is thinking the good for others and to give the benefit to them and not me. The moment you become unselfish, your life, whatever may be the span of life, that will be really, really useful. They only live who live for others. Rest are more dead than alive. So that is the way. Thank you.
The next question is from Srima Viswas. She is asking, what is Maya?
Maya is the power of God. It cannot be explained but can be felt. So that is called the Maya. And in the different, particularly in the Vivek Chudamani, Shankaracharya has given the descriptions of the Maya, definitions of the Maya, and it is there. We feel like that, but at the same time we cannot explain that. That is called Maya. I see that it is a snake, but at the same time when someone comes with the light, I see, no, it is the rope. How it happened? It is the Maya. I think that this person is so close to me and I am going to live with him or her all through my life. After a month or so, after a few years, we don't feel like that. Why? Why I could not feel this before? Maya. So in our life, every day, every moment, we are experiencing Maya's activity, but still we feel it. We suffer, but we cannot explain what is Maya. Okay. Okay, then let us conclude by chanting Shanti, Shanti, Shanti 3 times. You can also join with me. Om Shanti, 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat.